Today, we are going to have a wonderful interview, and it's going to be a really special one. Online, we have Mrs. Alla Dmitrieva.
Hello, Jean-Pierre.
She is one of the great ballerina of St. Petersburg in Russia. About a year ago, I proposed to Mrs. Alla Dmitrieva, would you be pleased if you could explain and describe your experience as a great professional ballerina who worked next to the great theaters in Russia in order that the audience may have an idea of how is life, how is the artistic life, and how is ballet in Russia. And at that time, she said, "Look, I have great difficulties in English. I could do it only in Russian." And I said to Mrs. Aladmiteva, "Look, I don't speak Russian, just a few words, and it's going to be very difficult." So she said to me, "Look, just give me a little bit of time. I don't want to give up. And I like your proposal of doing an interview. I will try to learn English." So I said, "Okay, no problems. And whenever you shall be ready for the interview, you let me know." So thanks also to her friends, because she has some friends who speak English, and they have been teaching her English. After a year, nearly a year, she contacted me again and she said, "Look, I think I'm ready to do the interview. I still have great difficulties in my accent, but I think that now I'm good for it." So I said, "Okay, no problems at all." And this is what you are going to see today. So the interview is going to be done in a different way from the usual one, because usually on the screen you have the two people who are talking, or you see the two people on the same screen at the same time. Now in here it's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to make the questions, and then you will see Mrs. Aladmiteva who will reply to the question, then you will see me again. So we have created this new type of video in order to give the opportunity to illustrate her great career of dance. Now, this is an introduction to the interview. I will let you watch the interview with great interest, and I really hope that you will like it. Now, what I would like to point out before we start the questions, I'm really honored, and I really feel as a privileged person to have such a great star of dance, especially from Russia, from one of the greatest theaters of Russia, the Mariinsky Theater, which at the time was the Kirov Ballet. I appreciate that very much, but what I appreciate the most in Mrs. Alla Dmitrieva is the interview, of course, but especially it's her strong will of discipline that she said, "I will do the interview. I will not give up. I want to do it, and I will do it." So this for me counts much more than the interview itself, which is a brilliant interview. But the fact that she said insistently, "Yes, I will not give up, even if my English is not perfect, I will do it." And this is what I appreciate. And this proof is a proof for me that I wish to see many dancers in this way. that even if they have difficulties, they do it. They do it because they want to do it with all their heart. So there are many people that I asked to be interviewed, and they said, yes, I am interested, and then they didn't even show up, no matter. But what I appreciate is when people, they say, no matter the difficulties, but I do it. So for me, this is important, very important. So let's start the interview, and you will judge by yourself. Thank you.
Hello, Jean-Pierre. Thank you very much. My name is Alla Dmitrieva. I was born in St. Petersburg, Russia. I graduated from the Vaganova Ballet Academy in Natalia Dudinskaya class. I worked at the Mariinsky Theater as a ballet dancer. Now I teach children choreography.
Mrs. Alla Dmitrieva, thank you for being online. So we start with the questions. What inspired you to start learning ballet or other art form, but especially ballet? Was there someone in the family who talked to you about ballet, or you had some friends who were already studying ballet? Or maybe you have been opening and reading some books about ballet that inspired you? Or you have been listening to some classical ballet music that inspired you? Could you kindly explain what inspired you to start the learning ballet?
As a child, I watched a lot of ballet videos, TV programs, all international ballet competitions, read magazines about ballet, and books about famous dancers. I really liked classical dance. I really wanted to try it myself. My mother encouraged me to take choreography lessons in early childhood, before primary school. When, by my teacher's advice, I attended the Russian Ballet Academy of Vaganova. The book of Ilyacheva about Irina Kolpakova influenced me so much in primary school. In the middle grades, I studied from a wonderful teacher, Lyudmila Komissarova, who was the last student of Vaganova and gave me the great basis of classical dance, what helped me in my future profession. It was impossible not to get carried away by classical ballet while working with Natalia Dudinskaya. My love for classical ballet did not disappear at all.
At what age did you start ballet? The usual age, something between 9 and 10? Did you did an audition, an examination before being accepted at the Vaganova Ballet School? And who were your teachers during the examination? And how many there were? How many students also have been attending this audition?
From the age of 6, I began to study choreography in small groups. Then professionally at the Russian Vaganova Ballet Academy from the age of 10. I studied at the Vaganova Ballet Academy for 8 years. And I continued to study while working at the Mariinsky Theater. The beauty, architectural ensemble of St. Petersburg, its sovereignty, lyricism, aristocracy, influenced the need to correspond to the city.
So, who was or who were your ballet teachers at the Vaganova Ballet Academy? And what inspired you to continue to dance as a professional?
I had wonderful teachers at the Vaganova Ballet Academy, from whom I tried to take all the best. In primary grades, I studied from former ballet dancer of Mikhailsky Theater, Sokolova, who taught me fundamental elements. In the middle grades, Komisarova gave us wonderful basis of general classical dance by the method of Vaganova, which help us nowadays. Meeting and working with Natalia Dudinskaya and Konstantin Sergeyev in high school have affected my whole life, including today. Natalia Dudinskaya was a very wise and patient teacher, but she always demanded the implementation of complex technical elements. It was impossible not to get carried away by classical ballet while working with her. At the Mariinsky Theater, I was working with Moiseyeva, Komleva, Evteyeva, Kekesheva, Spitsina.
Could you explain how did you feel at your very first ballet class when you entered the ballet studio and you placed yourself at the bar and you had no idea what was happening? It was your first ballet class. And how were your teachers? How did you feel during that class? Did you have difficulties maybe in performing some movements at the bar at the center work, and that you were a little bit hesitating and you were scared to do something wrong? Could you explain that feeling that you had during the very first class that you did as examination?
Thanks to the wonderful teachers at the Vaganova Ballet Academy, I learned a lot and had the opportunity to continue dancing professionally. And when I was immediately accepted into the staff of the Mariinsky Theater ballet troupe, I almost without a doubt began to work in this great theater. I didn't even think about anything else. I liked everything about first lesson at the Vaganova Ballet Academy. I was very interested in the lesson. I listened very carefully to the teacher's comments and tried to correct everything. I was very interested in that. I really like overcoming difficulties, feeling that I did my work to 100% and a sense the accomplishment of oneself.
Probably you had many teachers, and one of the greatest teachers that the Vaganova Academy could have. Could you explain how were they teaching? What was the style of the class? Was it progressing or going? There were some days where the class was difficult from the beginning up to the end, or it was, a slow process from the easy to middle difficulty and becoming more and more difficult. And how many teachers did you had during class? Was one teaching and another one who was correcting, or only one teacher who was doing everything?
The style at the Vaganova Ballet Academy was the only Vaganov style, academic, strict, aristocratic. They were very careful about the academic quality and artistry dance. I tried to match this. On the basis of such a school, it was possible to dance everything, both classical and modern dances. But unfortunately, there was very little modern choreography in Russia at that time, but it was never easy.
Алла Дмитриева, Андрей Яковлев.
In primary grade, I had trouble stretching my body. In high school, in Natalia Dudinskaya class, I got technical elements to improve myself. I appreciate Natalia Dudinskaya for the profession. She taught me to dance and inspired me to love ballet.
So, studying at the Vaganova many years ago, probably you have made the 9 or 8 full term years studying fundamentals of ballet. And thereafter, you made the final examination. Did the Vaganova Academy told you to make an audition to become a corps de ballet member, or you had to apply and you had to make another audition to become a professional dancer? And how was the first impact with the ballet company?
After graduating from the Vaganova Ballet Academy, I was immediately involved in the staff of the Mariinsky Theater, which I naturally was very happy about. I had straight A's in all classical disciplines, and usually the best students from the graduating class were sent to the Mariinsky Theater. But Oleg Vinogradov attended at the state exam of classical ballet. He basically decided who to take to the theater and who not to take. At the Mariinsky Theater, I danced everything: twos, threes, fours, solo variations, participle roles.
How was your reaction when teachers or choreographers were correcting you or making new choreography and they were explaining to you the choreography? And how were they addressing to you? What type of correction they were giving to you? Only technical, or they were giving also some advice? Because it's there to find teachers who give good advices to the dancers. So could you explain that?
I made every effort to correct mistakes. I was grateful for the attitude to me. It was a pleasure to see the result of my work. The teachers with whom I prepared solo parts, of course, made technical and individual comments and also gave advices for the future. In the ballet class, we mainly paid attention to Vaganova school.
So could you briefly explain in how, more or less, in how many ballet production you have been dancing as corps de ballet, and in how many production you have been dancing as a principal dancer, and in total, how many years did it took until you decided to teach or to retire? And how was the audience response to your dancing when you were going on stage? Were they going to applaud after your variation, during the variation, or they were giving you applause once you enter because they recognize in you great capacities and you already have a wonderful name on stage? As it happens with star of dance, as soon as you see a star of dance going on stage, they receive applause without they didn't even start the variation. So was that your case? Could you explain that? Probably now you are teaching, I presume. And is the teaching that you are applying in your ballet class exactly the same as the one that had been taught to you when you were young, or you are adding a little bit of your own personality, your own style, and to maybe to improve, modify, and to make it better, the style of ballet?
I had fans. The audience received me well. I teach small children. I try to teach the basics of classical dance using the Vaganova method, but I add a little of my own. I take into account the child's individuality. I improve external and physical characteristics. I try to get children interested in classical dance and follow the innovations that are now appearing in our Vaganova Ballet Academy.
Do you think that ballet today, in our modern days, has evolved in a technically in a good way, or you think that ballet, the new technique, has brought more injuries to dancers, more physical problems to dancers? Many dancers today, they complain that ballet is more acrobatic, with extremes movement, with back bends, with développés, touching the ceiling, and which was more difficult to find 50, 60, or 70 years ago. So do you think that this extra charge of acrobatics in ballet is provoking some injuries with the ear?
First of all, ballet is the theater art. Aesthetics are very important in ballet. I welcome the improvement of ballet technique. If you perform the movements beautifully, academically, with good mood, this will only decorate the ballet. Acrobatic performances look great if they correspond to the entire style of ballet. If children get the right education at the academy, there won't be injuries or serious risks during the dance career.
Now, this is going to be a little bit difficult question that I'm doing to you, Mrs. Aladinova. We know that the ballet of repertoire, especially with the music of Tchaikovsky, the music of Minkus, Prokofiev, Romeo and Juliet, Sleeping Beauty, Swan Lake, they make part of the repertoire, of the big repertoire of the classic. Also Giselle and many others, many others. And those are the vitamins, are the essential keys to improve the expression, to improve the ballet technique to young dancers who are starting their career as professionals. Now, There are some people who say these ballet are old. We should replace them by new choreography. Now, in your opinion, would that be a good idea or not? What do you think? Do you personally think, as a professional star of dance, what do you think about the new type of choreographies that we see today? There are some people who complain and they say, well, you know, ballet is always the swan lake, it's always the Giselle, it's always the same type of movements, you know, it's a repetition, they continue to do the same thing, and there is nothing new. But can something new be on the same level, on the same plateau of the old ballet of repertoire? Now, if, for instance, you are giving a ballet class, you are teaching, and you see that there are some dancers, young dancers, or normal age, or professional dancers, that are having difficulties during class. Are you the type of teacher who is patient, who understand that, you know, there are some up and downs? There are some days where the dancer is feeling well, there are some days where the dancer is not feeling well. And are you the type of teacher who understand that? Or you want to be, everyone must be the same, everyone must work hard. If you are not able to work hard, you go out of the class. So could you describe yourself what type of teacher you would be?
The art of ballet, like any living organism, cannot help develop, and it develops on the basis of great traditions that must be preserved. We need ballets of good quality, not only the divertisement in the last act, and with a characteristic dance. Its great traditions, especially preserved at the Mariinsky Theatre. Classical ballet still has great success on all the great stages of the world. Many new editions of old classical ballets only decorate the performance. Music for ballet of composers such as Tchaikovsky, Minkus, Prokofiev are shown at the all great stages in the world. It is still improving on the basis of requirements of new ballet technique and artistry dance. We expect appearance of new composers whose music will be used for new great ballets. I teach young children. I never kick them out of class. I always take into account the child's mood during the lesson. I try to be a patient teacher.
Now, this is going to be a little bit a difficult question. In case one day they would tell you, Mrs. Alla Dmitrieva, you will be artistic director of ballet school, ballet academy, Vaganova Ballet Academy, or you will be of a private school or a ballet company. What would be the changes, the improvement that you would like to apply in the new style of work? The technique cannot be changed too much, of course, but as a style of work, as a type of work, avoiding maybe some mistakes that have been done in the past, which is very difficult to find mistakes of the past, but I'm talking about ballet. So what would be your personal idea that you would like to apply within a ballet company or a ballet school and to improve everything? Could you explain that? Have you ever tried to make your own choreography, your own, not full-length ballet, but even short ballet? Have you ever tried, and have you ever launched yourself into choreography? As a great ballerina of St. Petersburg, so could you briefly give a word of encouragement and a word of hope?
Never stop learning to work and dance. Always keep improving yourself by working with the help of teachers and choreographers, giving great legacy of classical ballet and other styles of art, of dance, from generation to generation.
Because ballet today needs hope, needs oxygen, needs something new, but something new linked, related to the old style, because we must never, never erase the old style, the old type of good school that our ancestors had in ballet. Now, this is the last questions of the interview. Mrs. Alla Dmitrieva, it was a great honor to have you online, and I hope that also the audience who is listening to you will realize that it was an honor also for them to listen to you. Your interview is different from many others. Maybe it will be much shorter, never mind. But your words are precious like gold. You make part of the Ballet International group on Facebook, and you are a member of this group. Time flows very fast, but culture must remain. Traditions must remain. And either culture and tradition must be respected in every country. No matter how the world will change, either good or bad, but the culture and the art and music and ballet and opera must be respected in every corner of this planet. Now, what would you suggest? What would you give as a last message to the audience who are listening to you, and a message of hope?
A lot depends on the school and the abilities of the children, how capable they are. But I would never become a director. It's not my field. And especially like working with children if they perceive and correct comments. The main thing is to teach them the basics of classical dance according to the Vaganova method. With such skills, they will be able to dance all types of dance.
As a member, what would you suggest to the audience who is not making part of ballet? Do you think that the audience should give more importance to the performing arts, to the cultural aspect of bringing culture and oxygen to the new generation, to the new world of tomorrow.
I wish the audience of ballet performance undying love for the art of ballet, appreciate and respect very hard work of ballet dancers, maintain traditions of classical and other ballet styles by great ballet dancers and choreographers. We make you a gift of art which has stood the test of time and has preserved all the best traditions of our high theatrical art.
We are approaching the end of our interview. And now, when you see the videos that we see on internet about the young dancers, that they perform the same variation that you were doing when you were dancing. Do you find something different? Do you find something better? Do you find some technical details that maybe you are not happy with it? Could you give your own impression, your own idea? And what would you advise to the young generation of dancers who are listening to you and they are looking at you as a reference point?
I wish young ballet dancers undying love for the art of ballet. Never stop learning to work and dance. Always keep improving yourself by working with the help of teachers and choreographers. Giving great legacy of classical ballet and other styles of art of dance from generation to generation.
Mrs. Alla Dmitrieva, it is with all my heart that I'm really extending all my thanks and my regards and my respect to you for the wonderful interview and unique interview that you have done today. So really thank you. Thank you especially for your great solidarity, for your great love that you have shown in doing this interview. And I do hope that one day we will be able to meet in person. And even if I don't speak Russian, at least we can exchange a few words in English. And I really hope that also all the dancers in Russia would find to have the same courage as you had to talk, to express. There is so much to learn, to discover from the Russian ballet, the Russian Academy of Vaganova. We see many videos, but nobody talks. We see many videos of teaching, of ballet classes, of ballet variation, beautiful things, amazing technique, wonderful, but nobody talks. So you are the one who have been opening hearts, and you are the key of hope of ballet of the tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Jean-Pierre, for such attention to me. I was very nice to communicate with you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Alla Dmitrieva. And I also wish to extend my sincere thanks to all your friends who have been helping you in creating and getting involved into this interview, and who have been teaching you English and bravo, really bravo to you, Mrs. Aradmitova, and bravo to your friends. Thank you very much, Mrs. Aradmitova. All my kind regards and love always.
I'm sure we'll continue a cooperation in many other dances, choreographers, and dancers of the Mariinsky Ballet Company and Deichmann Ballet Dancers. I appreciate Vladimir Panshin for everything you do the best in education for young dancers, telling them with and presenting right art. Vladimir is a ballet critic. He writes a ballet memorizing book about ballet as art and dancers. Vladimir organized our interview and introduced me to Jean-Pierre. I would like to show my respect to Jean-Pierre, who paid some attention to my person and offered me to participate in an interview. Shout out to German for his professional participation in video making process and for invaluable help in English.